I'm working on this Master Sword Scattered, and I need a way to keep it up from the table so I don't scratch this surface. There's a product called a bench cookie, which is handy, but I don't have the extra money to spend on it right now, mostly because I'm part of the cosplay community and a little broke most of the time. So this is what I usually use. These are wooden scraps from my mug making. Right now, they're right here, gold paint on them. That's what I usually use, but I don't want, this is hardwood, this is maple, this is, though it's hardwood still, I don't want this wood to scratch the paint. And well, I was thinking of a way that you can do this at home, and I was going to show you how using this. This is a 1 1/8 inch dowel. I've got a 1 1/4 inch scrap I'm going to use as well. But basically, I'm going to use this to make a variation of a bench cookie, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Right? Right. I'm going to make 2 types of bench cookies with this. The standard bench cookie usually has to deal with this, it's disc. And I'm going to grab about 4 of these. There we go. I'm going to cut 4 of these real quick. About 3/4 of an inch. Now, if you don't have a miter saw, which is this doohickey right here, you could use other types of saws to do this. I got this at the dollar store. And yes, you could use it, though it'd take forever. But I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut some pieces off of it real quick. And that's going to be the first type of bench cookie. Second one is going to be splitting this. And, well, there's a whole other technique for that. So let's do this real quick. There it is. Pretty easy. So what if you don't have a miter saw? I got a whole bunch of crap over here, but none of it would suit doing what I just did. The miter saw works best making perpendicular cuts. And that's it's probably the second most used tool in any woodworking shop. So if you don't have one, I would suggest getting one. This is my first one. It's tiny. It's a 7-inch one, and I don't use it anymore. But it's great for a first time woodworking enthusiast. It's not heavy, it's not robust, it's not like this big guy right here. And it's much easier to tote around, move, and store. So get what works for you. I buy these at pawn shops. I don't buy them new. So it cost me 30 bucks. If you are going to make that cut with, say, something like this is a hacksaw. There's different types of hand wood saws. Hacksaw is very common. Make sure you clamp the piece to a bench or something secure, so that way it doesn't move around as you do the motion. There are wood saws which are much easier to use than this. It should take probably a minute or less to cut straight through a dowel. Dowel's soft wood, so it's easy to do. And once you have that done, of course, you move on to the next. Now, this one, we're going to end up splitting like this. If you clamp this to something, follow the wood grain. Cut it with the wood grain. That's going to make it a lot easier on you. So if you clamp this down, cut it with wood grain, it'll go down, down, down. And I can't do that with this hacksaw because this upper arm will stop it. That's when you need a wood saw. And truth be told, wood saws are everywhere and they're cheap. But think about it, I don't have one. It's one of those tools I never picked up. But someone's got to have one. I could probably go somewhere and pick one up. But I'm going to use my table saw for this next part. And this is dangerous. If you don't have a table saw, as I said before, you probably want to end up using a wood saw. Not just a hacksaw, because this time it won't go well with the hacksaw like I did earlier. But cut it with the wood saw, it'll end up being a lot straighter than it would be with a hacksaw anyway. Now, to help you to know where you should be cutting, always mark a line. Hey, line. Now, if any piece ends up being a little uneven, simply sand the surface, which is what we're going to do with these. We're going to end up sanding the surfaces. So this is going to be my push stick. This is just another scrap piece of wood. This is going to help me push it through so I don't cut my fingers on this. So there will be no accidents today. I hope. I wouldn't suggest using a bench sander for this. It could be way too aggressive and cause the bottom to shift and become uneven. Just a little bit of quick sanding on some rough sandpaper on a table and just sand it like that. That's all it really needs. But I actually made these a little larger so that I can trim them up a little bit on here. That's because the miter saw tends to make rough edges like this. And this sanding will pretty much clean that up. Okay, so what I did for these while sanding is make sure that they're all the same height. Benefit of factory bench cookies is that they are all the same height. And well, since I'm doing these by hand, I need to take a little bit of extra care to make certain that they're all the same height, which they're close enough. The woodworking is done. Compared to most other projects, that was pretty easy. So the next step is to cover the surface here, these, with foam. And that's going to be pretty easy. If you've never worked with EVA foam, they're the sheets that most cosplayer uses in their projects. If you want to get some, they're pretty easy to get at the hardware store for about 20 bucks. You just need to ask for foam mats. Sometimes they can be advertised as yoga mats. Those are the same thing. But these are usually the sectioned diamond mats. They call it diamond studding. I don't know why. It's diamond plating metal, and they're imitating that, I guess, for grip for whatever reason. But they're the interlocking foam mats. And I've got a bunch of scraps for that, and that's the next step for this. All right, so there it is, the simple bench cookie, the humble bench cookie. Now I continue working on this. Well, one of the things I got to do is kind of remove this tape to expose the beautiful blue underside, which some people are kind of waiting on right now because, boy, have I been working on this for a long time. But regardless, doing little projects like this, the bench cookie, and putting them on YouTube for you to be able to view and hopefully follow is what I enjoy doing. And just a standard shout out, if you want to follow me on Patreon to support more actions like this, please do. I would really like it. However, not everyone likes to give up their hard-earned cash. So a like and a follow on this channel is a great alternative. That beautiful blue. Look at that. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Man. Nice hard edging. Yeah, it's been hidden beneath this tape for a while. Now, since I have a wood making background, I do find it easy to grab some wood and make something of it. Like scabbards. I have a new website up, canesarmory.com, where I sell these, and I suggest you go visit it. It's not as big as my Etsy shop was, primarily because I have had it for a month, and I'm building up the listings, one listing at a time, and, well, this is definitely on there. You're more than welcome to take a look at it, as well as other things. Oh, this is so much fun. Remember when Adam Savage does this on his builds? Gosh, I feel mine is so much simpler, but still so beautiful. Ooh, I'm doing it in front of you because you've waited this long in this video for me to make a bench cookie. Why not go through this last step and watch me do this? It's like a strips tease. Throw the ones at this. Oof, so much cutting on this. So much detail. I'm just masking. It's funny how much work you do masking and how much intricacy is involved in it. How much cutting, fine tuning, and detailing. Oh, this part. I love this part. Oh, this is looking so good. Anyway, there's so much fine tuning with each little razor blade cut that goes in here. And, oh, look at that. My goodness. That is just, yeah. Woo. It's got to get a gloss coat later, but still. You enjoying this as much as I am? Oh, in case you're wondering, just to have something to talk about while I do this, this is car paint. Not the gold, the blue. Duplicolor car paint. And I love it. It's great. I'll be able to put a gloss enamel on it, and it won't ruin the slight metallic color I have in here. But I had to treat the gold with something special. And that video that I used to experiment to see what would be best is the one that I made before this one. So once I was able to determine what paint and what clear coat protectant I'd be able to use to protect this so that I could put an enamel clear coat on it, I was able to move forward on this. Because generally, we just kind of move forward and take the haphazards, or the hazards as they may. Oof. Still a little dust in here, but still, that looks pretty good. So if you want more information about what I did to coat this and to protect it from enamel, because if you've ever done this before, when you put the enamel down, it dulls it badly. ruins the cold. But if you don't want that to happen, I made a test video to see what I needed to do. And I did that, and I'll link that vid in the comments below, just so you can see it. Because I think that's a great bit of information. Warning, you need an airbrush. I tried to do it without an airbrush. I used a critter can once, which is incidentally behind me. And that turned out poor, mostly because if you put the material on too thick, it fogs, and you want to prevent that from happening. Ooh, maybe I'll start doing these strip teases. I'll call this a strip tease. These strip teases for my Patreon followers. I'll post a video of me doing a strip tease, and only Patreon followers will be able to watch unmaskings, and I'll do it for all my projects, just so you can see what's going on. I think that's kind of cool. I think in another video I commented about how much I hate blue painter's tape. I hate blue painter's tape. But I ran out of the tape I like. Look at that. Oh, that's why I really want those bench cookies. I'm gonna set this down now. And now I don't have to worry about it. Cool. Future project. Strip teases on Patreon. Here is the final use of the bench cookie. And that's all it's there for. This is it. That's its sole purpose. Soft surface for this. Now, I cleaned these up a little bit, made them flat to the edge. You may ask a simple question as to why is there a wood base? Well, with the wood base, I could put a dab of hot glue here, plop it on my table, and while I do other things, it won't move. Same with these. I can also put a screw in here and hold them in place. It's also really rigid. So when it gets put down, it works. Now, I won't paint on this. This is just for post-painting, detail work. So these will last a long time, and if that ever goes bad, I could just rip this off and put a new one on there. That's it. Wasn't that easy? Well, real easy for just a little tool that helps your finished product.